course, I'm talking about Johnny, Somali, and Hank, who are going to be the principal targets today for our video. Really, this is about the lovers today. This is Valentine's Day. It's a day of love, and it's about Johnny and Hank. We're going to show their new video together where they look oh so adorable, and we're also going to go through their Discord messages, which are extremely problematic and damning, and there's a lot of stuff they're talking about there, including what appears to be a trip that more streamers are making to Korea. So originally it looked like Slightly Homeless, who's one of the nuisance streamers over there in Japan, was the only one who was going to head over to Korea. But it appears that another streamer, at least one other, is confirmed to be coming to Korea, possibly more. It might even be the whole gang that's in Japan coming over. One thing I was very curious about with that gang in Japan, and they are trying to distance themselves from Somalia. We'll show the text records today. Was where are they going to go to extend their tourist waiver, their tourist exemption? Because most people in developed countries can only be in Japan for 90 days at a time on a tourist visa, or essentially a tourist exception, which is you can be in Japan without a visa for 90 days at a time. You then have to leave the country at least for a bit and come back. And now many people do go to Korea quickly, whether by boat or by however else, right? They go to Korea for a little bit, spend a day or two there and head on back, and you can get another 90 days, which would get them to 100 days in Japan. If in the aggregate, you can't just stay in Japan directly for 100 days without a visa. You can't do that. You would overstay. And if you did that, you might get prohibited from entering the country again for a certain period of time. Overstaying your visa is very serious. Here in the Kingdom of Thailand, that can also get you blacklisted, meaning permanently banned from the country. If it's too long, it can also get you fined. So there's a lot of punishments for overstaying a visa. All right, let me show you. So I said last time that new charge, because I talked about his new charge, that his new charge was probably based on disturbing the person with a disability. In case you haven't seen, here is the video.
I am Kixinimar. You're Kixinimar.
One second. He actually looks scared, bro. No lie.
Okay, this is an old video.
He said he's calling the police.
Call police, Bumi. Call 112. Call police, Bumi. Call now 112. Call the police.
Your phone about to die, bro.
It's okay. Bumi, call the police. To give me a hug, I need to Bumi. Why? Why?
See?
Stay out of Seoul. This is my territory now. Run the city. Ain't no kick streamers on my fucking block. You run.
So that was harassing a disabled person because he has a condition. So Boomy could, and I think Boomy did actually contact the police and file a report. So I'm sure that could be something, right? That could be one of the charges that was against him under the Minor Crimes Act. So that's very, very possible. All right. So now let's get to the new stuff. So this video is new. That was an old video. This is a new video. This just came out, was just put out by none other than the Star-Crossed Lovers right before Valentine's Day. Isn't this sweet? The guys that are confirmed, by the way, and we showed this last stream, they're confirmed to be living together. So Hank himself has said that he is sleeping together with Johnny Somali under the same roof, right? That's Hank's words, not mine. Hank said that, right? So let's play the roomies and their statements.
Yo, what's up, motherfuckers? We're over here. We conquered the South Seoul Fortress, or the People's Republic of China.
One time, and we're gonna do it again. Who the f you think sent Johnny Somali here? Shout out to the CCP. Shout out to Xi Jinping.
Hell yeah, Jungo Wansui. Jungo Wansui. Look at all this land. You know, America and China should split this land in half. Right?
Yes, sir.
Hell yeah. Jungo Wansui. And I got a message for all these Korean extras and niece who want to like pull their age on us.
So yeah, he's officially praising the CCP attacking South Korea, pretty much slandering South Korea, coming out and slandering South Korea. This is when his case is in 2 weeks, two and a half weeks, like 3 weeks, let's say 3 weeks to his case. But he's, out there praising China, speaking Chinese, slandering Korea, right? But let's go through some of these messages here. And I want to make sure I've got everything pulled up that I need to have pulled up. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I've got everything here. A lot of different photos here that I want to pull up. So I want to make sure I get them all in order. Let's start with, where should we start? I want to start with Johnny saying he's going to come back. Where's that one? Okay, here we go. So Johnny is going to come back. And he's announced that pretty much publicly in his little Discord over here. And here's the message, because he's talking about having not streaming before, and he comes in. This is at 8:15 a.m. Says, I low-key need that. It's going to be Korean War Part 2 when he goes live. So he is planning to at some point come back and go live, just not yet. So he's going to come back, and he's anticipating, he knows that when he comes back, it's going to be a problem, that there's going to be issues. He also knows that there's going to be beef with other streamers. And in fact, he's trying to start beef with other streamers. That's kind of part of his gig. So here's the one I told you about, where he kind of confirms that at least one other streamer, ABZ, is going to come to Korea. So right here, Johnny Somali says 7:35 a.m. I really can't wait to meet ABZ, who's another streamer. This is another nuisance streamer in Korea. So he's planning to confront this guy and to stream it in Korea. So he's already planning to, apparently he knows that this guy is going to come to Korea, or he's heard this guy is going to come to Korea. And he's planning to confront him for quote unquote the content, which is kind of verified by these text messages he has with ABZ. Let me show these right here. Okay. So here's some messages. I don't know. I think this is a Twitter message, but this is ABZ up here, and this is Johnny. This is Johnny here. Wallahi, you need to stop threatening me and putting my name in your mouth. I don't even understand why the fuck you keep constantly mentioning me. My only problem with you is being two-faced and helping me in the beginning when I was on Kick and switching up once I got banned. Stop trying to continue this weird beef. When do I ever speak about you? It's so cringe. It's cringe, right? ABZ says, shut the fuck up, and calls Johnny Somali a rat and says, I told you what not to do, and that's the shit you were doing was going to lead to a ban. You agreed and apologized and said you'd clean up. The very next day, you did it, got banned, and expected me to feel bad for you or to help you. Then you proceed to talk shit and make videos about me for months. You're a dickhead, and what you did in Japan is scum as fuck. So he's trying to put some distance and distance himself from Johnny, because a lot of people helped Johnny out in the beginning, but now they've said, hey, look, listen, we're putting some distance on it, and now they're calling him a rat, right? And then he goes over here. Johnny responds and says, I get that you warned me about my actions, and I appreciate what you did for me back then. But when people on the platform are still doing the same or worse, no, they're not. No, they're not. The people that do that stuff get banned. And we're actually going to show DBR. DBR got banned again. His channel got taken down again. And they usually get hit now because Kick knows, and they don't want to lose advertisers. The very little they have, they don't want to lose them. It's felt unfair. It's been almost a year since all that, and I just want to move on. A lot of the people you're around in Japan have done worse than me, yet you're the only one, yet you're only calling me out. That's hypocritical. I'm not here for any more back and forth about the past. Well, he doesn't want to argue the past because Johnny's fucked up more than most people, and he's done more illegal crimes than most people, although the others have done things that are illegal. And in fact, there's some of them that have done things that are potentially very illegal, even if they haven't been punished for them. It still doesn't make what he did better. And I hate that excuse that Johnny's trying to give. It's a very kind of baby excuse of, well, they did it too. That doesn't make it better, right? That doesn't make it better. Just because somebody else does not mean that you can do it. Like, it's like speeding. I talked about this last time. If you're speeding and the police catch you, but somebody else is speeding more than you, let's say you were doing 90 miles an hour and they were doing 100 miles an hour, it doesn't make it better or okay for you to speed. You're still guilty of speeding, even if someone else was doing it, doesn't get caught. It sucks for you maybe that it's you and not them, but it is what it is, right? You're still guilty. All right. Johnny says, people are waking up at least. Sam was actually speaking the truth. So he's trying to say Sam Pepper. And ICE can see how Japanese Twitter and police are. You would think logically he would say, wow, this country is retarded. And now I see what Johnny went through for a little last shit. But instead he wants to blame me. You literally don't have to do anything. Who the did I start with fights with or harass in Japan? Literally, Johnny committed several crimes in Japan. So Johnny is now full of shit. He trespassed. He harassed people. He stalked people. He was yelling and screaming on trains, bothering people, getting in their face. Those all were disturbances. All were illegal. He was punished very lightly in Japan for what he did there. And it was entirely because of him. This is what I have called the Somali effect. And I said it is absolutely affecting Ice Poseidon. It's affecting Sam Pepper. It's affecting all those guys, Slightly Homeless, ABZ. Everybody in Japan right now is affected by Johnny because they all know Johnny. Johnny is famous internationally, and it's affecting him. In fact, there's politicians and news outlets that are covering it. I'll show that on a future stream. We'll go over other stuff, but just wanted to get that out there, that it's absolutely about Johnny, and him trying to say, wah, it's not me, is just ridiculous. All right, let's talk about a hanky poo. Johnny's lover, his roommate. Here we go. So Hanky Poo's been saying some crazy. Here's Hanky Poo, who at this time was he changes his name a lot. He was under Diddy's dildo, Hank U. I'll just leave that to your imagination. So Hank U here admits to engaging in prostitution in Korea, which is illegal. It is illegal. Yes, of course it exists. Prostitution. Every single country, whether it's legal or not, right? Every single country in the world has prostitution, whether it's legal or not. However, talking about it publicly in a public Discord is pretty fucking bold. So he goes right here and says, I've heard whorehouses denying foreigners, even if they're Americans, and I've seen it myself. A whore denied me because I had a foreign accent while speaking Korean. I am not joking. And of course, Johnny's very wholesome people in his chat ask, how much was she charging though? So the question they wanted out of this was, how much is the whore? Right? To which he says $100. He does say, I've never heard of Americans getting denied at clubs, even for clubs with no foreign signs. If you show them American passport, let you in. This is absolutely not true. Hank is completely wrong about that. I've seen it myself. I myself has been denied out of clubs for this. Other people have been denied with American passports. This is absolutely not true. Hank has this fantasy. So Hank has a fantasy about these large countries, China and US, that they're like all powerful and can do whatever they want, which kind of plays into Johnny's fantasy of like Johnny's American, so he can do whatever he wants and say whatever he wants. No, he can't. And let me tell you right now, if you think you're American or Chinese and can get away with everything, you're crazy. You're crazy. Right? That's insane. Maybe he's talking about Korean Americans, but even then, not really. So Hank, the dildo, Hank, says, never leave your house without your American passport. King Terry says, are you even Korean, bro? The Koreans claim you're Chinese. What an honor. I wish I was. LMAO, racial slur. I'm not going to read this or say this, but you guys can read this yourselves. Racial slur thinks being Chinese is an insult. Imagine that. Once again, this is Hank, who's praising the CCP, praising China. He still lives in Korea, and he's racial slurring his own people, right? He says, I wish I was Chinese. I wish I was Chinese. So he's simping for China big because America rejected him, right? And now he really goes in on Korea. He really goes in on Korea. Let me show you guys this one. Okay. This is Hank once again. Pretty much, why can't they, Korea, join the U.S. as a state? Korea doesn't deserve to be independent. Korea needs to be humbled by both China and America. Korea is basically like Eurotrash countries. I think he's trying to say countries, but just put cuck in there for no reason. And Japan is like Britain, writhing with inferiority complex against America and China. Koreans would talk China on the internet that wouldn't say shit in front of an actual Chinese person. That's totally not true. I've seen it myself in person. When a Korean fighter beats a Chinese fighter, they put it on sports page 1. There are 3x more Chinese fighters beating Korean fighters. Koreans are better than Japs, Brits, and Europeans, but that's not saying much because Britain and Europe sucks at MMA and Japan fell so far behind. Koreans on average act like Eurotrash, all about that image and face and faking themselves. So this is a Korean person who calls himself Korean, talking his own country. Obviously, there's a certain psychosis to this and a racial psychosis to this, because he's not making a differentiation between Koreans, whether they're Kyopo, Koreans who live abroad, Koreans in Korea, Koreans like anywhere else, or whatever. He's just making racial slurs, like going all in on Korea. Here we go here. He also makes death threats against the Korean streamers. Let me show you guys this. So here's Hank making death threats against the Korean streamers. This is when he had his name is Patronus N4828. He says, if I was in China or America, those motherfuckers would be dead by now. I would have killed them. So he's talking about Bang TV, Dalgun, Jungman, and J Company. So he's saying he would have killed all the Korean streamers if they weren't in Korea, if they were in China or America. I wouldn't even have gotten aggravated battery by those 3 motherfuckers. 4, actually. I would have spilled their brains out and claimed self-defense. Scram simp, you helping me? Okay, real quick. So first of all, China doesn't have self-defense. So clearly he doesn't know Chinese law. I have a good friend who is a Chinese lawyer. Anybody who knows China at all knows that, even it's funny. This guy is literally sucking the CCP's dick and he doesn't even know Chinese law. Like how much, like if you're going to suck the CCP's at least know Chinese law. Then you would know that if you even studied China a little bit, there's no self-defense in China at all. You can't possess a gun in China at all. You'll go to prison for a long time. You can even get the death penalty for possession of a weapon. It's possible. So, obviously he doesn't know Chinese law. And in America, not really. You can't just when we analyze self-defense cases, shout out to my boy Andrew Branca, Law of Self-Defense. If you break down these self-defense cases, a lot of them don't qualify for self-defense. If you look at these videos and the way he's talking about it, he's talking about premeditated murder. He's talking about just going and like intentionally killing them and just calling it self-defense. That doesn't work. That's a myth. And many of those cases are convicted of actual murder. So just let's be very clear. He then says he needs help with legal. So clearly, that was a little bit ago, so maybe that was with his American legal appeals. So there we go. Also, one last thing here. Him slandering Korea once again, where he says right here, stupid Koreans think they're higher than Chinese. So once again, this is Hank and Johnny being on Korea, praising China. This is what their new grift is. This is what their new thing is. So there you have it. That's some good stuff right there. And that's the stuff on Hank and Johnny.